Hey guys, welcome to Studio.
Show notes.
I usually let you do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Welcome to.
Notes.
Don't do the whole thing. Welcome to.
Studio show notes.
Yeah, there you go.
All three.
I think we should just keep this like that.
Like what?
Well, not reshoot the beginning.
We never do.
Okay.
Almost never do. It's got to be pretty bad and worse than that.
Yeah, now people want to know what's on the editing room floor. Never. Anyway, welcome to Studio Show Notes, where we take you inside the Stuff You Should Know studio and talk about things that interest us that we've basically found on the internet.
I've got something that interests us.
Oh, yeah?
Accentism.
Yeah, I thought this is pretty relevant because we do a lot of bad accents. Well, I do a lot of bad accents.
Don't drag me into this, you accentist.
Yeah, I do a lot of bad accents on the show, and I've always thought it was interesting how you can do some accents and it's fine, and sometimes it makes you like a big bigoted racist.
Well, we've heard from people who are like, dude, the Italian accent, that's not any better than any other accent, you know? But still, we've gotten away with it for so long.
Yeah, but you could do a German accent all day long and no one's going to call you out and say, you shouldn't be doing German accents.
Right, same with the Italian accent, except you've still been called out about it.
Yeah, and
there's one person out there, at least,
Sure.
who's going to be offended by it. But for the most part, the world has agreed, yeah, German accent, Italian accent, hilarious.
yeah, don't do Asian accents, though, because that is offensive, and we heard in detail why that's offensive. And I think the main reason that most people gave was it gives the impression that just the East is just weird and different, and it just comes across as mocking.
I think that's the case with doing any accent.
Yeah.
You're ultimately mocking, whether it's
Sure.
good-natured or not. Like there's still the room for somebody to take offense to that, right?
Right.
And so what this guy, Dr. Alex Barada, is pointing out is like that's a real thing, and he's making it a real thing
Yeah.
by by putting an ism on the end of it and
Right.
calling it accentism.
Yeah.
And apparently in the UK, if you're from the north, you have a very thick northern British accent, which to us in the U.S. it's a British accent.
Sure.
But in the UK, there's north and there's south, Cockney.
Yeah.
There's if you're in business in London, supposed to sound like you're from the south.
Right.
And if you're from the south or from the north, you're supposed to posh up, apparently, is what it's called. And like this is a real thing where you're supposed to turn your back on your northern roots
Right.
in order to fit into the south. And he's saying that's accentism. That's discrimination at work.
Yeah, I guess the same thing here. If you have a super Southern accent,
Yeah.
a lot of people associate that with being dumb.
Right. Or slow or
Yeah.
just not up to speed.
Yeah.
Because it's so hot down here. Everybody talks a little slower, you know?
Yeah, I definitely am going to look at my own habits as an accentist.
I got to tell you, though, a lot of people are going to be sad if you never do the Ponzi scheme accent again.
But it's so fun to do.
Here you go.
That's not offensive, right?
Ask somebody out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
He calls it the last taboo.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the last one, but
I
sure,
think there's some
maybe
more
it's
out
up there.
there.
My prediction is long before accentism ever takes hold, ageism. That's the next one.
Oh, that's already a thing, though.
Yeah, but it's if you watch TV joking about old people being demented or whatever, it's still totally okay.
Yeah.
Totally okay. Like watch your average sitcom,
Right.
and you will see somebody making fun of an old person.
It's like the
being old.
1970s all over again.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And you can see it now. Like if you just realize that all of this is on an arc.
Yeah.
Everything, rather than just establishing everything like, okay, everybody gets civil rights or nobody's made fun of or mocked, you know?
Yeah.
We have to do it for each group one at a time.
Sure.
Right now, it is very much like the 70s with other groups today with ageism, with the elderly, making fun of them. I guarantee in 15 years it'll be like, I can't believe we used to say that.
I find that as I've aged, I've been more aware of that. Even saying, the old lady in front of me in her car,
Right.
I try to think like, my grandmother, like, can't
She
drive.
drives a car.
Yeah, well,
She's just like this lady.
she's not with us anymore, but she shouldn't have had a driver's license. But
Oh, yeah?
the thought of some jerk behind her really got
Like,
my blood going.
Laying on his horn. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
like lay off my grandmother.
Yeah.
She's weaving very slowly. That's safe.
Leave the grandmothers out of it.
Yeah. All right, so that's accentism. And what else?
And ageism. Wow, we got off on the tangent there.
Yeah.
We were going to take a Facebook question. Do we have time though now?
I think so.
Okay.
We called for Facebook questions from you smart people. Will we ever hear Jerry speak is one.
We have.
We have in the distant background in a couple of shows.
She gave an entire speech in the Guatemalan adventure episodes.
There you go.
Like a speech.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to hear Jerry speak and speak inspirationally,
Yeah.
go listen to those.
It was very sweet words she said.
This one has 9 likes. It's from Mike Deneen. If we shed skin so often, why do tattoos stay? Well, the reason why...
Do you know the answer?
Yeah.
Oh, whew.
Tattoos are delivered to the dermis.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We don't shed the dermis. We shed the epidermis.
I forgot.
So they're below the portion of our skin that we shed, which is how they stick around.
Here's one from Kelly Alvord. Have you ever redefined your stance on a topic after presenting it for the show? That is a great question. I feel like that's happened. I can't think of an instance, but a lot of times it's not necessarily redefining for me, but definitely seeing things in a different light.
Sure.
Like exposing ourselves to something like that had never occurred to me. Just like the accentism.
Right.
Like, it never occurred to me maybe.
It just happened before our very eyes.
Exactly.
How about one more?
Go ahead, pick one out.
Do you ever turn down podcast topics because you feel like you won't be able to be unbiased? That's from Mackenzie Maxwell. Yes. We have never done a How Stuff You Should Know Works episode for that very reason.
Yeah, and I turned down writing an article on
Internet hunting?
Internet hunting, which is, I don't think it's around anymore. But
I hope it's not.
At one point a few years ago, you could literally go online,
Pay
money to have a gun, a real gun, hooked up to where you could operate the scope with your mouse.
And the trigger.
Yeah, and the trigger, and virtually hunt, but really kill.
Like you would
could
like
hunt from your
hit
bedroom.
the space bar.
Yeah.
And they would release like a gazelle or something into like a pen, and you just followed it with your mouse and shot it. Like that was internet hunting.
So like all the fun of a shooting game that you would play, except it really killed animals.
Yeah.
So I refused to even write that article. I was like, I don't even think we should let people, the less people know about this, the better.
Good for you, Jack.
Boom.
That's it.
That's it.
That's studio show notes this time. You want more? You go to stuffyoushouldknow.com. It's got everything you need. Other videos, awesome slideshows, the best stuff we've read this week.
Yeah.
Everything you need. And it has all of our podcasts. Literally every podcast we've ever recorded. There's an archive page.
Yep.
All on stuffyoushouldknow.com.
Yeah, we'll see you next week on
Studio show notes.
Nice work.